Yeah. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. At the very outset, I'm very humbled to speak to such a large audience, which is very well informed, enlightened, and has brought a lot of public issues in public domain. And because of your nature of job, I would like to imagine that you have a much broader view of things, a much broader approach to things, and some of the articles that we read in the newspapers on CDM and Kyoto Protocol and climate change and things like that. I am amazed and I am surprised at the insight that you bring into those articles. Since I have about 15 minutes, most of you are from, or rather all of you are from the Southeast Asia. Some of you may have traveled on Delhi Metro. Very quickly, Delhi Metro started its operations in 1998. It is being constructed in various phases. The phase one concluded the construction in 2006 with a 65-kilometer network. Phase two started in 2006 and we completed in 2010, October, with a 130-kilometer odd network. We have now approached the NCR towns of Gurgaon, Noida, and Vaishali, and Ghaziabad. And now, very quickly, phase three we would be commencing construction on phase three. The ridership when we started in 2006 was something like 4.5 lakhs. Right now, it touches something like 18 to 19 lakhs. Sometimes it peaks to 20 lakhs passengers per day. Sorry. People have already talked about CDM, my previous speakers, the overall view. I just brought these slides just to tell you the number of projects that have been registered so far in the CDM, under this UNFCCC CDM mechanism. And where we stand, obviously, China and India take the major share, with China leading us all the time, both in terms of the number of projects and the number of certified emission reductions, what you call the CERs being generated. So it is China and then followed by India for a variety of reasons. Now, in all these numbers, millions and millions of CERs and thousands of projects, where do we stand? Where does Delhi Metro as a government organization stands? The moment I walked in this room about an hour ago, the credibility of government of India was at stake. So I'm not in that position to defend I'm not that mighty to defend the mighty reputation of government of India. But yes, I will like to make an attempt to say that, yes, the government, it is not that we all fudge data or we don't do anything. There is a demonstrable evidence that people can go watch and see for themselves. So in the numbers that we have, Delhi Metro has got only 2 projects registered with this CDM. The first project was in what is normally referred to in newspapers, etc. It's normally referred to as a regenerative braking project. I will talk about it very briefly later on. It was registered in 2007. Just for your interest, it took us about 1 year and about 4 months in the entire project cycle. The project itself was pretty simple, but given the complexities involved in the methodology and etc., it took a lot of time. The second project, which was registered on 30th June, and the news that we got was in September, is normally referred to in newspapers as the modal shift project. It is also a very simple project in terms of when people shift from cars and other modes of transport, which are fossil-based, fuel-based, and they switch to metro. Metro inherently is a transport medium which produces less GHG emissions, not eliminating them altogether. So you have less emissions per passenger kilometer when you travel by metro. So this is the second project. But why are these 2 projects important, and why you would want to know, and why I would like to share them with you? Is because with you, the story can go out, and the other metros that are coming up, not only in India, but in other parts of the world where this Kyoto mechanism applies, they can use this to earn foreign exchange. Never mind the critics. Okay, so transportation is, when we say that it causes about a quarter of the GHG emissions worldwide, we say that we agree that it is the fastest growing GHG emission, source of GHG emission. And please bear in mind that you would have covered somewhere in your sessions a World Bank report which says that by 2050, about 50% of the world population would have turned towards urbanization, or the world would have urbanized by more than 50% by 2050 or something. In an urbanized setup, you need a good transportation system. And we have seen what the transport of most of the Southeast Asian cities is like. In Delhi, it was pretty bad. Things have improved. In many other countries where metros or there are BRTs, people will look at transport because it is a prime mover of any city's economy or a country's economy. And therefore, transportation needs to be looked at very seriously, not only because it causes GHG emissions. There are avenues to reduce GHG emissions through CDM mechanism, but that doesn't seem to happen. That doesn't seem to happen. Out of these numbers of projects registered so far, just 10 projects in the transport category. There are about 15 categories, sectors. So only in transportation, there are only 10. And in public transport, very few. Why? In the next few slides, I would give you my humble opinion because we have been through all this. This is a snapshot from the UNFCCC website. So many projects on the transportation network. I mean, in the transportation scope, 10 of these. 3 are from India, 2 of which are from Delhi Metro. BRT 5, Cable Car 1, Metro Railways 2, Fuel Switch 1, Commercial Transport 1. Incidentally, both these metro projects by the Delhi Metro were the first projects in the world anywhere on metro and railways. And we thought that the other metros would just catch up and also do some of the CDM projects. I'm very glad that despite criticism on Reliance, the Reliance Metro in Mumbai is actually taking up a CDM project on metro after Delhi Metro. So what is the reason why there are not so many projects in transportation? That is the problem, where they should have been. Methodologies are very complex. What are these methodologies? These methodologies are actually, if I say that I'm going to do something which will cause GHG emission reduction, and therefore I need carbon credits, I need to earn money. It isn't that simple. What you need to have is a huge amount of documentation, formulas, factors, data, and then you need to establish what you are saying. Because at the end of the day, it is all about money. So what happens is, in the entire process, you have to invest a lot of time, lot of efforts, and money. It is not that you get, you know, with Metro what has happened is that we have been the first to take the plunge. So we have had all those teething troubles. In the second Metro project, the Metro 1 India, we actually developed the methodology. We paid money, we invested the money through a consultant to develop the methodology, which not only the Delhi Metro will use, but it could be used for all the other metros. And in the second project, it took us about 3 years. 3 years. Why? Because of all these hurdles and difficulties. Two of the methodologies on transportation for modal shift were actually rejected by the Met panel. So we had setbacks. And you can imagine, when you're doing a good story and the editor rejects it, no, it's no good. Bring me another story. This is what happens. You have to answer, you have to talk to your MD, your directors will ask you, what have you been doing all these years? Two methodologies are rejected. All the time and effort going to the site, collecting data, and we find that no. It cannot be traffic centric, so let us do it the other way. So we again resurveyed, increase the sample size. But the bottom line is, you have to demonstrate the quality that you want. or you will get the consultant that you deserve. It's very true. You have to demonstrate. So, in the case of Delhi Metro, even though we have a modest success, I think it's mainly because we have hired good consultants. For the Metro One India methodology, we have hired a consultant in whom all the methodologies for transportation projects are registered. So he actually knows the job. And therefore, even though it took us so much time, we persevered, but we succeeded. As I said, 2 projects. This is the first project, installation of low GHG emitting rolling stock in metro system. Very quickly, I'll just carry you through this project, the CDM project in a metro transport network. What does it mean? It simply means this. If you have traveled by a metro, obviously, when you reach a station, brakes are applied. Now, before the Delhi Metro came into existence, we had the experience of Calcutta Metro. In Calcutta Metro, they used a particular kind of braking system. You have different braking systems, even in cars. Now you have hydraulic brakes. Earlier you had drums, and so on and so forth. So what happens is when you apply brakes to any moving body, what happens? The kinetic energy gets converted. The kinetic energy gets converted into mostly heat. So in the Calcutta Metro, the coaches of those trains had a mechanism that when you applied brakes, the kinetic energy got converted into heat, and that heat was dissipated into the atmosphere. That was the conventional braking system of Calcutta Metro. So this was the technology that obtained when Delhi Metro started its project, or when we conceptualized our project. As against this methodology, what we have used is a regenerative braking technology. Now, it may sound fancy, but it's very simple. What it does is, there is an equipment in the underframe of the coach. It houses the induction motor, the converter inverter. So what happens is that in the Delhi Metro coaches, when you apply brake, what happens? That the kinetic energy gets converted not into heat, but into electrical energy. This is what happens. There's some magic. Some equipment is there. The induction motor starts acting like a generator, and it will convert the kinetic energy into electrical energy. This electrical energy is then fed into the overhead loops or overhead lines, right? So does the story stop there? No, it doesn't. Why? Because one train is braking. In the loop, there is another train which is taking off, what we call the coasting mode. That train will require energy. This train, which is just braking, the energy, the electrical energy that it has passed on to the loop, to the overhead line, will be absorbed by the train which is taking off or in the coasting mode. That much amount of energy, not completely. This is how it goes on. One brakes, the other takes off, the other brakes, the other takes off, that one will brake, the other one will take off. So in this way, we are absorbing less energy, we are drawing less energy from the national grid, were it not for the technology that we have used. Because of the technology we used. Okay, right. Some figures here from 2007 to 2017 10-year period. This 41,000 tons of CO2 equivalent every year, this is a conservative estimate. When we have gone in for verification and we have actually started our earnings, we find that it's actually more, something like 44,000, 45,000 per year. So the charge that we inflate our figures by 70%, you can see here, we had underestimated. It's about 3,000 or 4,000 more than what we had estimated. So this is one project, and this is the VR certificate that we got, the voluntary emission reduction. This is the second project. It's a biggie in terms of the fact that all the transportation projects, if you see on the website, they earn something like 2.5 lakh tons of CERs per annum, or they're supposed to, but this one will earn something like 5.5 or 6 lakh tons of CERs, number of CERs per annum. So it's a big project. Again, the concept is so simple, but the problem lay in trying to establish a protocol to monitor and verify it. And so what do we have in this Metro 1 project, the second Metro, Delhi Metro CDM project is this. That in a baseline situation where you have no metro, what do? From your house, you take a car or no matter what anybody might say, we will go in for CDM for phase 3, because if this is not a transformation project, then what is? If a metro project is not a sustainable project, please tell me what is. Why? Because institutions have done studies on Delhi Metro. Because of the ridership, it is estimated that we remove about 90,000 vehicles every day. We take the load of about 90,000 vehicles every day. We effect time savings about 31 minutes per round trip, and time is money. We reduce pollution, we reduce congestion, and when we monetize all these, we have found that in phase 1, the cost of the construction period was about 7 years. We have given back to the society in terms of the economic cost, the social cost, and the environmental cost in 5 years. That means by March 2011, the economic returns to the society for phase 1 construction have been fully paid. This is not Delhi Metro study, it is a study by a premier institute called CRRI. So we will continue with the CDM for phase 3. We will demonstrate, yes, we are effecting reductions. And also, because we want other metros to come in, other transport sectors to come in, we will try and do more on energy efficiency. We are doing a bit, but of course there is scope for improvement. People have traveled on metro, they find problems there. Sometimes the doors will not open, sometimes the trains will stop. All these things do happen, but do they not happen on our personal vehicles also? So we'll try and improve wherever we can. We'll try and use energy efficiency measures, and then we'll come to you again. Thank you.